Because I want people to look at me and anything I do as a reflection of what an investment in public education can mean. Because my brother and I went to the neighborhood school around the corner. Nothing magical. There weren't charters and magnets and, you know, there just weren't. You went to school around the corner. There was no research involved. It's like you were 5, you go to kindergarten. Here's your lunch. Good luck. And back then you could do that. And I'm not that old. But I feel like it. When I talk about my childhood, I feel like my grandfather. Way back when I was a kid, I was 43. But life has changed so dramatically for regular folks. Regular folks like me, little black girls from the south side of Chicago. Life was simple then. And over the course of my lifetime, and what's important for people to understand through Democratic and Republican administrations, life has gotten increasingly worse for regular folks. And that is a reality. Now there are some of us who have benefited. You know, we've had ticks of booms. There have been people in our own families who have been successful. Barack and I are not complaining. But the vast majority of people in my life have seen a steady decline in the quality of their life. People like my father, who all he wanted for us was to help us reach for dreams that he could no longer achieve for himself. You know, and that is the beauty of America, because folks in Iowa, in Kansas City, South Central LA, folks don't want much. Folks aren't asking for much. They want to know that if they get up and go to work every day, like my father did, without complaint or disappointment, that they can earn enough to take care of their families. They want to know that their kids can get a decent education in the neighborhood school around the corner. They want to know that if they get sick, they won't go bankrupt. They want to know that after a lifetime of that hard work and sacrifice, that they can retire with a little money in the bank. With a little dignity and respect. That's all folks want. But we all know that that little simple, unmiraculous life that I had has become out of reach for the vast majority of regular people. It's not possible anymore. Folks are struggling. And when you're struggling, then you're more susceptible to fear and cynicism and division, because you don't have time to reflect and think, because you are struggling all the time. And that's where we live. That's how we're living, people. You know, those jobs, those blue-collar, solid jobs are gone. All over the country, drying up. And if you're lucky enough to have a job, your wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living, so everybody's got to work. My mother stayed at home until I went to high school. On my father's little single city worker salary, he could support a family of 4. You can't do that now. Not when you're paying for rent and gas and food. You can't do it. Everybody's got to work. And we all know single parents. There are millions of them across the country, and I don't know how they do it. All I do know is that the women, the men, the folks who are trying to do it feel like they're failing every day. Because there is no way that you can go to work every day, come home, take care of homework, cook a nutritious meal, take care of yourself, handle a problem at school. You can't do that. But we're holding up this standard of family values, saying, reach, try to get it. We're making it impossible for you. And then you feel like you're failing. Schools are deteriorating. Those little neighborhood schools around the corner are just hit or miss now. I know in Chicago on the south side, the quality of schools varies dramatically, from neighborhood to neighborhood, block to block. You don't know what you're getting when you send your child to that school, that lunch at kindergarten. You don't know what's happening. No Child Left Behind is sucking the life out of the energy of our teachers. Kids are being tested to death. And the one thing that I know is that if my whole future was based on my performance on a test, believe, I couldn't stand tests, but I could write like nobody's business. But see, that's what we're doing to our kids in public schools. And college has gotten completely out of reach. And I talk about this every day because let me tell you, Barack and I are in the White House. We will be the first couple in a long time that's just 3 years out of debt. Loans 3 years ago. Because see, we went to those good schools. Everybody's like, oh, Princeton and Harvard. And I got the bill. And it kept coming with the interest. And I was like, well, I'm paying twice as much for my education as somebody with a trust fund. I'm still waiting for that, for Barack's trust fund. I keep looking at him, it's like, it's coming, right? Especially after I heard about Cheney. He's looking at me too. But we were in debt because we did what we thought we were supposed to do. We didn't stay in corporate America. Some of it was because it was driving us crazy. But some of it was because this is what we were told to do. You bring your blessings and gifts back to your community. So we did, and with every job we took, we made less money. My mother laughed too. What's wrong with you all? And at the end of it, we were in debt. And the only reason we're not in debt today is because Barack wrote 2 best-selling books. So thank you. Thank you. That was our financial plan. But other than that, we would be today the parents of 2 little girls at a time when you have to be saving for their college. You have to, because you got to start when they're 2. Not having paid off our own debt. You trade in one set of debt for another, you can never get ahead. And you can't get sick in this country. We're in debt in this nation because somebody got sick. Not because we're living extravagantly. Somebody had to put medication, treatments on a credit card, and they can't get out from under it. And retirement. I talk about retirement all the time. Seniors living with respect and dignity, that's not easy. And let me tell you, I know that I want our seniors in a good place because of what I need. Look, I am breathing here today because of my 70-year-old mother. You know, a friend of mine was over today, she said, how's your support system? I was like, there she is, right there, Grandma. You know, the reason she can be there for me, and you know there's nothing like Grandma, nothing like her, because child care is not where it needs to be. So all these mothers, parents who have to work now, you can't breathe if you know that your kids aren't whole in a place that's affordable and quality, with the hours that make sense for your schedule. Those places are so few and far between. But when you got a grandparent, a great aunt, you know, that person you know is going to be passing on those values to your kids, give them a little extra candy. You know, I tell you now, I don't recognize my mother. I was like, what happened to you? Like, well, they don't like vegetables. They don't eat vegetables. I'm like, who are you? But I can breathe easy when I'm on the road because they are cared for. But we can't do that if our seniors aren't whole and healthy. And they need it too. What keeps my mother young is the days she comes over and she's cooking and taking care of those girls. Her face lights up in a way that I want to see in every senior in this country. See, but we're not there yet. And I could go on, but we don't have all day. This is where we are in 2008. This is what we are about to hand over to our children, and I am not exaggerating. And Barack always says that our greatest challenge as a nation is not that we're suffering from a deficit of resources. We're a wealthy nation. In all our economic ups and downs, we are still one of the wealthiest nations in the world. And it's not that we're suffering from a deficit of policies, you know. I mean, the beauty of Iowa and New Hampshire is everybody wants to know your plan. Tell me your plan about health care. And the truth is it's really complicated. And it's going to change. Because what you say now is going to change depending upon who's in Congress and what's the state of the world. It's true for everything. So, you know, we can't guarantee you how this stuff is going to look today.